Welcome into the podcast. Saturday, it's a nice day outside. Today we got Nick Thompson in. How's it going?
Awesome, man. It is. It's very nice weather down here in South Carolina, too. It's like 80s now, hitting that, where the water's starting to warm up. But I mean, being from Ohio, it's hot as fucking muggy up there, too. So
I
at
was
least
gonna
I'm by
say,
an
yeah,
ocean here.
yeah. You're originally from Ohio.
Yep, of course I am. And I live in South Carolina now. Real original.
Yeah, I love it down there. Are you guys near Folly Beach, or is that still like an hour or two away?
So we're about like an hour and a half north of Charleston. So
Okay.
we're literally in we're in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
When I
Yeah.
say Myrtle Beach, it's like not nothing around it. We are actually in Myrtle Beach.
I love it
So,
down there. I love coming visiting. Did you watch the Tiger King thing? That
oh yeah,
show? So did you
yeah.
see where they were talking about the one guy that was talking that they have that tiger thing in Myrtle Beach?
Yeah,
Have you been there?
it's here. It's like a mile away. I've never been there. I guess it's
Oh,
super expensive.
is it?
But my wife actually, while we were watching this, she the restaurant she used to manage, Yamato. It's a like a hibachi place, but they would have days where they would bring that guy, and I forget his name escapes me right now,
I
but he
can't
had him and
remember.
like his ladies come in with like the tiger cubs and stuff.
Oh yeah, he had all
Uh,
those ladies. Yeah, he had his.
yeah, was it a harem of what's
Yeah.
he called them? Their harem. But she said it's very, very strange. He's a weird guy. He would like,
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
yeah, the women wouldn't order any food. He would just order for everyone and stuff.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
old guys with ponytails, dude. Gotta look out for
And
them.
tigers.
Keep your eye on them. Yeah. Oh yeah, those two. Yeah.
So I didn't want to say this because I don't want any of my exes getting mad, but in general, if someone has a horse, like every girl I've ever met or dated that had a horse was a little crazy. So I feel like if you have
Yeah.
those exotic animals or those big, now I'm not saying farmers or anything, but still like girls that like they don't live on a farm, but they just have a horse, and not
Yeah.
a dog or something else. But a lot of people probably know you from Hit the Lights, but I'm actually more interested in talking about Thief Club because it's been around for a while. Like it's not I mean I'm just seeing some new stuff, but I feel like you've had this concept since like 2013 or 14 at least, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It went way back. Basically, it kind of just happened because at the time back in like 2012, Hit the Lights was on Universal Music Group, and we were going through like we had been on the label for probably around I don't know like almost 2.5 3 years, but it was just they would send us in with different people to write and all that. We'd be back and forth to LA and New York, and they'd just be putting us in with different songwriters and stuff, and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of we just wrote our asses off just trying to get an okay to do a record from the label,
Mm-hmm.
we were kind of like signed. Oh, we've always been a pop punk band, but I think we were kind of signed for the amount of records we sold. And then once we signed to that record label, they were kind of like, okay, well, we have to make you guys ready for rock radio. So obviously,
Right.
I think a lot of bands that were doing well at that time that were even close to Hit the Lights was like maybe Anberlin. Like
Right.
pop punk doesn't end up on a lot of radio.
No. No.
Aside from maybe like the early '90s, I think it probably had its biggest heyday.
Right.
Especially now, it's that doesn't exist on the radio. So we kind of ended up getting stuck, and I just wrote and wrote and wrote all these songs, and you just get denied by the label and stuff, and
Yeah.
just kind of after a while, it just grinds you down. You just realize like, oh, I'm a shit songwriter. I'm in a shit band. Like I can't do anything right. And eventually we were able to get out of our contract because they fired the president and cleared all the band's waiting. So it was kind of like a nice blessing in disguise because they
Uh,
from our contract and we didn't have to pay out anything.
oh,
We
that's
just got to go
awesome.
sign to another label. But in that time, I wrote all these songs that, um, Hit the Lights going forward. We ended up doing this record called Invicta that was like a lot different. It
Right.
wasn't really a pop punk record. It was kind of I don't know. I've heard referred to as Hit the Lights on Weed, that kind of thing. It's just a spacier, more mature record.
Yeah.
But I had all these pop punk songs that I really liked, but I had nothing to do with them. So Hit the Lights ended up taking a hiatus right around 2013, I think. And during that time, I just kind of found myself again, started like to write again just for myself. And it was nice not having to do it for a label, not having
Mm-hmm.
to meet these guidelines for each song and stuff. And that's kind of how Thief Club came up. I went back in with my good friend and producer Rob Freeman, who did a lot of Hit the Light stuff. He helped me record an album. I put that out. I never intended to tour or anything on this stuff. It
Right.
was more like a cathartic release for me. And as a songwriter, I could push back, I could write these new songs, and then I can just move the fuck on,
Yep.
to write songs for Hit the Lights and all that. So it came that way. And we have Hit the Lights has a label over in Japan called Kick Rock, who obviously they were big fans of Hit the Lights. So if you hear Thief Club, it's my vocals on pop punk music, which is similar to Hit the Lights. So a lot of people I think who would like Hit the Lights automatically are going to be like, hey, this sounds like Hit the Lights, but just because it's me, it's just me singing pop songs again. With this just being my project, like I never have to assume that or make it so I have to sound like anything else,
Right.
I have that freedom going that if I've written these weird fucking like passion pit like pop songs too.
Yeah.
So there's like a nice blanket where it's just I can just be as personal as I want with it. Whereas with Hit the Lights, I think we like to do a group effort. Everyone's got a say in it,
Right.
which makes great stuff too.
Right.
But like I said, this was just that cathartic release that I could do with Thief Club, where I just could say fuck you, I could do whatever I want, and I had that freedom to do that, which is a whole new and awesome thing on its own.
I feel like that's where most people, especially if they didn't start off as a band, kind of strive to get to. Just because, again, like too many cooks in the kitchen, and that's what leads to a lot of problems sometimes. If you get a group of guys that just understand, look, we're here to play the music that this guy's coming up with. Obviously, we'll have some input, and we're gonna, do our thing too. But all the creative control, all that stuff is mainly one person, sometimes two. And I always feel like that it's just less stressful. It's really hard. It's really hard, especially this industry too.
Of course. And being in a band, like being in a band is a social experiment anyway.
Yeah.
So, I think that some of my best songs come about because of the songs I took to the guys, and, they would, say, hey, let's change this, or I like this, my best songs I feel come out of that process of working with other people. But at the same time, like I said, you just said it, it's just so much less stressful when it's just you have to worry about the artwork. Just you have to work on a part,
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, too many cooks in the kitchen is definitely a real thing. And with Thief Club, it gets a lot easier. But there is the downside too of, am I really challenging myself sometimes? Or is there a part that could have been better and I'm just settling? I certainly have my friend Rick, one of my producers, Rick, he calls them Nickisms. We're just like, that's your go-to, that's your safe spot. And that's okay to do too. But there is something to be said for being in a band and having each other to push each other and really make sure you're bringing your best and not just to kind of like, dishing stuff out just because it just sounds like the comfortable thing to do.
Right. And that's the producer that you're kind of partnering with and doing stuff in the studio down south that I've seen you do for some shit, for some bands?
Originally in Kentucky, Paducah, Kentucky. I worked with Rick from King Sound for, now it's going to be like 4 or 5 years, which is crazy. He moved down to Fort Lauderdale. It's going to be almost a year coming up. We worked a little bit down there, but he moved down there so his wife could be around their family.
Yeah.
And he's kind of backing out of that. He's kind of got on the Twitch game now and stuff. So he'll do like little mixings and stuff here and there. But he just, he's doing like, he opened a clothing company, started a clothing company and does that Twitch shit now.
What's the clothing company
doing
called?
That too. So it's called Player 2 Apparel.
Player 2 Apparel. I'll have to check that out after.
It's awesome stuff. Check it out.
Cool,
they know what they're doing. I don't game, so like it's out of my realm. So I just buy his shirts. And I'm just like, I support you. You guys have your shit together. I support you. I have no idea what any of this means though.
Yeah. I want to be a gamer in the sense of I like video games, but I've always had bad luck with game consoles. I had like Nintendo when I was really young, but then I think the first real system I got was like a Dreamcast. And like two weeks later, they stopped making the games because someone found out how to burn them. So like they all became obsolete. Like literally 2 weeks later, and I spent like $300 on it.
So that was the death of the Gamecast, then, huh? That was the reason.
Yeah, for that.
GameCube or Game.
No, the Sega Dreamcast. The Dreamcast, yeah. And I like that one because I like the controller better. PlayStation was always like thin and had so many buttons, but this one was more like an Xbox controller. And then in college, I got the Xbox 360, and it had the 3 Rings of Death. So I spent like a ton of money on that, and I used it for like a month, and then it died, and they wanted $100 to fix it. I was like, ugh. So I just never bought another video game, and I haven't gotten back into it. But I do like playing sports games. Are you into sports too? Or is it just music?
I am not into sports.
A lot of
Nope.
people aren't. I don't blame them.
That's another thing. Yeah, I can't. I assume that it's because my father wasn't into football or anything. Because my
Right.
my mother and my sister and everyone pretty much else in my family is really into football, basketball, all that stuff. But I never got into it. I played in high school and stuff, and in middle school I played baseball, track,
I was like,
some
you look
football,
like an
soccer.
athlete. I was like, you look like you
I,
play an athlete. You
yeah,
work out all the time.
I did, but that was yeah. Then I just found guitar and skating,
Yeah.
so
Right.
I did that. Um, but yeah, never got into. I ended up never getting into football and stuff. And the way I see people kind of act about it, sometimes it's just like I definitely don't want that.
No.
I get mad enough at like in traffic. I don't need like another excuse to be mad at like something out
I
of my
know.
control.
And that's why you're like talking about social media earlier. I've talked about to everyone almost on it. The only reason I have them is, like you said, for work, for the podcast, because you have to. Because if you really
Hmm.
want to get some stuff out there, you got to play with the algorithms, which means you got to be consistent. But personally, I would just get rid of it. But it's
It
too,
is.
I don't know. I don't know what as humans, it's so weird. And I was just watching that Have a Nice Trip. Have you seen that on Netflix yet?
Yes, it's great. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. And it's not like I enjoy tripping, and I've only done it maybe a few times, but if they actually came out with, like the doctor said, the medical use in a controlled environment where I'm not having
Hmm.
someone poke their finger in my face and stuff like that, just to expand. I think the reason I get so anxious and I have such anxiety in social situations sometimes is because I was just raised differently. I feel like we were raised differently when we were like, outside before technology, but still
Hmm.
have technology. But people are just, I don't know if it's because we're older and you don't realize this, you don't see it. And then now everyone has access, so instantly you can be a jerk if you want. Whereas like you wouldn't really know unless someone told you or you saw it in person. But I don't know. People are just like, I feel like most people are kind of jerks. And then you meet a nice person, you're like, oh man, he's a nice guy. But that's ass backwards. It should be like, I remember when I was younger, it was always like, oh man, everyone's nice. And you're like, oh, that guy's a jerk. You know,
Yeah.
it's just once in a while. And I don't know. What do you think it is? Like, and it's a noticeable difference. Do you think it's social media? Do you think it's just everything?
Well, I think so. And one, I think this stuff is so new. I think we're still figuring it out. We're to a point now, and it's going to get a lot weirder where
Oh,
we don't even know what's true anymore
oh,
because people can put up whatever, just like facts that are just
they made up in their
lies,
head too.
and people
Yeah.
will recycle that stuff. I think it's a matter of one. It's gotten to the point now where there are things like Twitter and stuff like that. I can't even do that. It's just noise. That
Yes.
that Facebook feed. It's just noise.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's just scrolling past, and everyone is just screaming to be heard, but no one's, I feel, listening.
Yeah.
So it becomes a trap.
Yeah.
Arguing with someone on Facebook, social media, or whatever. Like you get like that maybe a little dopamine rush from like doing a sassy comeback or whatever. But like then what? Then you have to keep like coming back like as you guys go back and forth over shit that you'll never resolve because you're both too stubborn to anyway, and you're doing it over a screen.
Right.
And not actually connecting with anyone anyway. It's just becomes that trap. Where
Well,
it's a reason that my shits take 15 minutes now. only only two
yeah.
minutes of that was actually of the deed, and the rest is all like scrolling, by. There's those chemicals in our brain that I think we're starting to recognize are enabling us to be addicted to this constant stream of information and this constant need for that immediate satisfaction.
Mm-hmm. That's why
You
I don't
know,
talk politics because again, it's like no one listens, and also there's no facts. No one argues or says things with facts anymore, especially nowadays. But the whole reason I asked that is the point of all that was that I get anxious because when I was watching that show and they're talking about how it expands your mind, and then you start to think more like big picture. I've always been a big picture guy. And that's why I
sure.
don't think I fit in with a lot of people sometimes because I get people are always thinking short term, like when's my next paycheck? How are you going to pay the bills? Stuff like that. So that's why it's like hard to kind of, especially when you're working with bands or trying to work in the industry. So when I saw that, I was just thinking it's hard because people think so short term. So I might say something, it might not make sense now, but in my head, it makes sense because I see 4 steps ahead of what
Right.
that's all going to lead to. I don't know. Do you find that you get caught up sometimes in the short term of things?
Yeah, and what you were saying with the thinking long term stuff. as far as this stuff goes, I don't think long term as
Oh,
much on
right.
my music anymore. I hit the lights. We were on a little sabbatical. We will probably come back and do a record at some point. Thief Club, like I just like doing things now. Like I'm 36 now. I had to think about it. Just turned 36.
Me too.
Yeah, it happened so
I'm
fast.
right behind you.
Especially like being in a band. I toured the world for 12 years straight.
That's crazy.
And I think you know this too. You have 2 sweet baby puppies at home, stuff too. I
Try.
have a wife. I have things that I don't want to leave now. You know, the road is great when I'm an 18-year-old from high school. Just
Here's a
wanting
picture
to
of you
get the
guys.
fuck out. Oh yeah.
I got
I
the
love that
best
picture.
I got the best one though. It's this one. This is the one I pulled up. I was like,
She
yeah,
loves
let's
to
try.
ruin my sunset sometimes.
I've
She's a big
gotten
fan of that.
I've gotten caught with Coda, and the hardest both of them because they're both pulling in different directions and like both trying to do like so many different things. And Chai's such a sweetheart. I love coming down there. Oh,
come down again. You got some big boys too.
I know.
Yeah, she's getting so gray now. It's like she's gonna be 11 this year, so it's like it's one of the things. Like I know we all know what their lifespans are. Now I see that gray, and it just reminds me to love her and not yell at her as much for doing the stuff that I know she's going to do anyway.
My mom almost made me cry the other day. I walk in, she's like, your dog's getting old. He's gonna die soon. I was like, what? She said it so nonchalantly too, and I know she didn't mean it anyway, but I was just like, why would you say that?
Yeah,
like, he's getting old. I'm like, yeah, he is though. He's actually older than me now because I think he turned 6. He turned 6 this June, and
so he lapped you.
And I turned 36, so he'll be like 40 something, I think. Or is it 7? 7 times 6?
I think it's
36.
1 year
Oh, so we're like the
7
same
years.
age right now, right?
You're peers, yes.
We're peers, and then he will overtake me. You were in Japan with Thief Club recently, right?
Yeah.
How was that? Have you been there before?
It was awesome. Yeah, this is actually, I'm lucky enough. That was, I think, my 6th time over there. Wow. I got to bring my wife over, and then I got to bring my friends. I pretty much got to assemble my own band and took over all my favorite people in the world.
Damn. That's awesome,
I
dude.
knew would love it. So it was great. Like Brian, my drummer, like he was literally like the first drummer in the first band I was ever in. So it's cool. Like I've known him since for longer than I haven't known him in my life anymore.
So you're more Asian than me because you've actually been over there like 6 times.
Dude, it's awesome. It's my favorite place in the world. It's such a great place to be. I was so happy that I could share that with my wife and my friends too.
That's so That's
we
cool.
have the
Is this you guys are here?
That's the first night in the hotel.
I think someone commented on this photo specifically, and something to the effect of like, kind of sounds like Issues, but not your thing, dude. I'm like, what do you mean not your thing? How do you know what my thing is? Like, who are you to tell me like what my music or what I am? Like, I get that you're a fan of the stuff I've done, and I know they're just fans. They don't know better, but still, It's like, I wanted to say something to them, but I just didn't because it wasn't worth it.
Issues. I haven't heard the Issues comparison before.
Neither have I, because I don't think you sound anything like them. To be honest, I just saw them and I was like, not anything like them. But
yeah, Issues is much heavier, much lower.
If anything, I would have like I'd see you on tour more with like Simple Plan and what's the other one? Cartel and all those guys.
Sure, that's our little niche for sure. I think it's just pop punk.
Right.
To be with any of that stuff, it's just easy listening stuff that I just wanted to make some catchy stuff and throw it out. And I was lucky enough to have friends and a label to help me do that. And then we got to go to Japan. So that was
cool.
Pretty much the reason why I even have a live band in the first place is because our label over there is like, hey, I want to bring you guys over. And I was like, well, I guess I have to actually learn these songs now. I have to learn how to play these things and with a live band, which has been a whole nother thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
I forgot because I played guitar originally and Hit the Lights, just sang some backups, and we had original vocalists that decided they didn't want to do anymore.
Right.
So me taking over, that was weird in itself. But now I got so used to that I forgot that like I have a guitar again now and stuff. And the split that my concentration has between trying to hit all the right notes with my voice,
right,
as well as trying to play these things at the same time. I have much more practice to go. I'm like getting back into it. It's nice to do that again and challenge myself, because I definitely handicap myself by just being a singer for all these years.
Yeah. Well, when that happened, I'm sure it was kind of a not like a planned out thing per se when they switched and you became the lead. So was that something that you did start to think like, can I do this?
Yeah, well, like it took us about 8 months. I didn't want to sing at all. I did
Right.
not want to be lead singer. I was perfectly happy playing guitar, doing backups, um, and I wanted to keep it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't like my voice anyway. It got to the point though that we would meet with all these people and these, these singers, and they were all great people and stuff,
Right.
but
Just
the
nothing ever
dynamic
clicked.
that we had, together as a band already,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, being in a band is a social experiment. So you need to be bringing people on board that you're going to be vibing with, not just with songs and songwriting, but just in general hanging out, because you're going to be in a stinky fucking fart filled van
Yeah.
for the next year with that person.
Yeah.
And I think we met with some great people, but we just didn't share visions that we had, or we just didn't know how well it would work out in the long term with as far as how we were already friends. So right around like the 8-month mark of us looking for a vocalist, it just seemed kind of hopeless. We're like, we kill all our momentum that we had from the last record, and it just ended up being a last ditch effort where I just ended up. I'd always wanted to cover the song "The Warrior," which is by Patty Smythe. And we went to Rob Freeman, who we'd never worked with before, but had heard good things when we were in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
We just did this cover of The Warrior. I sang on it. We put it out just to see what people thought.
Yeah.
And it just, I think it made sense for everyone at the time because I was already in the band.
Right.
So it wasn't like this new person coming in.
Right.
What helped was I'd been there all along. I'd been helping to write the songs all along. So it didn't feel like so much of a shift because I was still so much a part of Hit the Lights anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't want to, terrified.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was going to do, when I would get on stage without a guitar.
Right.
And still to this day, like a lot of times when I get on stage, I just black out. I don't think about what I'm doing.
Right.
And, I just go in there and I just rock and jump around and do my pop punk thing, but I don't fucking remember half the stuff that happens.
I mean, I haven't played in forever on stage or anything close to being a professional band in a long time, but yeah, I do remember even just like playing on the 311 cruise. Ballyhoo's like, you want to play a little bit? So I played like a little part with him at the end of it and just being up there at one quick. Now that was really quick, but yeah, you almost forget that you're there,
Yeah. And now I'm getting used to that with the Thief Club, with me picking up my guitar and playing again, which I could have done the 5-piece thing, but I really thought that it'd be good for me to like start playing some guitar again,
Oh yeah.
while singing. And, I, even for those shows in Japan, they were definitely like the first pancake shows where you kind of find out where your problem spots are going to be, practicing and playing a live show are two completely different things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Really, yeah. So I still now, like it had been so long since I went on stage and felt nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of brought it back again, where it's like, like the first songs, I can like feel my hands like shaking a little bit because I'm just, that confidence isn't there anymore. I'm out of my comfort zone, but I like that. And like I said, we're getting better slowly. I have a great group of guys who thankfully were like a great band who learned the songs and knew them enough too, where I'd be fucking up and thank God they knew what they were doing. So I have like a good support group, and it's, I can't wait. We haven't even played our fucking official first US shows yet because they all got canceled because of this stuff.
Did you already have them set up before it hit?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Crap, man. I'm gonna have to
we had
some.
4 shows, and then we had we were actually gonna do a Hit the Light show as well in July.
Oh, that
so really
cool too.
It was gonna be 4 Chord Fest with like Blink-182 and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that stinks, man. But yeah, I love what you guys are doing with that, obviously, and I could probably go on for hours and hours, to be honest with you. And there's so many things I did have planned, but I'll have to have you back once this is like done, and you guys have some more dates going and stuff like that.
It's gonna be rescheduled. We have a bunch of being rescheduled now. I think right now this is just that time where we're just gonna see what the fuck happens with kind of everyone. Like I said, and before we were talking, I don't even know if this is included. Either way, Myrtle Beach opened back up.
Okay,
we opened back up about a week and a half ago now. Memorial Day weekend. There's no social distancing down here. Like people are going all out, going ham.
That's crazy.
So we're gonna see. I know that we're the guinea pig state kind of for that.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how bad it's going to get. And I know Ohio. Are you guys opening back up soon? Or are you like this week or something like that? I
So
know Ohio is.
no, I'm in Maryland.
Right.
But we did open this weekend. I know people are down at the beach for Memorial Day. Now I know I actually love our governor. He's Republican and he's a fuck you Trump guy. He doesn't really follow, like, he's a Republican through and through, but like he won't open back up just to open back up because he's Republican. But he did kind of loosen it, and we do have idiots too running around.
Of course.
Yeah, but I think it's everywhere, more so in certain states, probably southern and other places than anywhere else, just because the weather's nice and they're getting, crazy about it. But like, we've had rain here and stuff. It's been kind of cold too. So it really hasn't affected me too much, which is funny.
I imagine in the next couple of weeks, the numbers will start coming out, and we'll see there's going to be that resurgence again, or if we can start slowly planning things. So maybe by the end of summer, we can do some actual dates again.
Have you thought about doing those like parking lot concerts or doing the live streams that everyone's doing?
So I just started doing these live streams.
Yeah.
My label for Thief Club, We Are Triumphant, Greg, he maybe was like, you need to do, because they were doing it was called like the digital something days or whatever for the label where, people would come on. So I agreed to do that because he's like, you need to fucking do this. And after I did it, I had so much fun and people really enjoyed it, that I decided to do one for Hit the Lights. And I just did that 2 days ago.
I was going to say, it just happened, right?
Yeah, it was great. I ended up playing for like an hour and a half, which was crazy. I just had too many songs to play. So I think for now, that's going to be kind of a new thing for me. Going back and seeing now, like I watch the streams and stuff and seeing, one, like how much it sounded like shit from like the quality and stuff, is maybe want to kind of like amp up some things. So I'm going to kind of get
do a little bit of production in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Just something that looks decent, looks cool, and it's not going to sound like shit.
Yeah.
It's maybe want to kind of up my ante. So I will be doing that for Thief Club and Hit the Lights again. Just have people tell me what songs, if there's any songs that we've never played or whatever that I could learn. That was a lot of fun. So I'm going to start incorporating that, maybe do shows every 2 weeks, maybe something like that. Because it seemed like people really enjoyed it and it was fun. It was fun to do. A lot more fun than I thought it would be.
So when it was going on, I missed it because I was doing a podcast, but
shame on you.
Yeah, I know. I should have. I almost told the person, sorry, I got to go watch Nick Thompson's live stream real quick. But can we reschedule? So I went to the dispensary today because they had a Memorial Day weekend sale, and I had my medical card, and they had this live resin. I took a tiny. I'm like, I usually have a no smoking rule for podcasts for this very reason. Took a tiny hit, and I'm pretty high right now. But yeah. I
was going to take a gummy bear. I totally forgot to. You just reminded me.
You should take it.
Too late now.
Yeah, whatever.
So 2 hours later, I can forget I took it and be like, what's going on? Oh, yeah.
Do you have anything you want to promote as far as Thief Club that just came out? Or I know you had some T-shirts. I just bought one, so I'm psyched to get that in the mail. Man. Yeah, of course. Always want to represent. I knew it wasn't going to come in on time, but I was like, maybe I can get it before he gets in here. But
it's probably on its way. Seamus is pretty good about sending everything.
Yeah.
Shout out to Downright Merch.
Yes, Downright.
My boy Seamus, who does a great job with our web store. Yes, Christmas. That was a good day.
Sorry, I had some random ones I like to throw up here just for production value. I can like go through and throw some up while we're talking. But yeah.
4th of July. Yep, that was same shirt.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Woo.
I have so many dad shirt cutoffs now. Like, cause I'm always outside, so I'm always in mesh shorts, and I cut off. Like, I just picking up dog shit in the yard. I just like get flashbacks. I was like, I'm dressing. I am my father. I become my father.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Completely.
I definitely have too, in weird ways too. Personality as I get older. I said something to my nephew the other day that my dad always says to me, and I just thought in my head, I'm like, man, I just talked to my nephew like my dad. Like, I'm turning into my dad now.
Yeah, you start to understand more and more. You're like, oh, I get why you're an asshole, because I kind of feel like being an asshole too.
I keep losing my track and stuff because I'm trying to like do all this stuff too.
I need to just set up though, dude. It looks pro.
Dude,
you look good. It looks like you know what you're doing, even though you might not. And that's the fucking goal anyway. Fake it till you fucking make it.
Yeah. Well, actually, someone told me the best advice was not to fake it till you make it, but I feel like you have to like make it presentable. Don't put yourself out there like you're some big CEO and you're not, but like, make it look nice. So yeah, I'm trying to.
No one got their start knowing what the fuck they were doing. They're just like, here we
No,
go. Here we
no.
go.
Yep.
Hope this works out.
I'm jumping in and it's either going to work out or I learn from it and I'm better the next time that opportunity comes up. All these shirts, though, are original shirts with the ticket stubs, and that's why I have the specific ones up there, even though I might have, like, cooler shirts. Like, my really cool body bag hit the light shirt. I don't have it, but, you know, I could stuck that up there. But
I'm sure we'll do another run at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure. But that's why I have those up there. But, yeah, some of those are from, like, 95 through, like, 2002, 2003, like the good years, you know, the good old days.
Oh yeah, I have many shirts in my drawers that are just taking up room, and every time I try to purge, I'm like, I couldn't fit in the shirt if I wanted to, but I can't
get rid of it.
I can't get. I've got like an old like Earth Crisis like jersey that like it looks like a like I just blow it out. I can't wear it all. I can't get rid of it. Can't do it.
I fluctuate in weight so much. I'll go from like a small all the way up to like a large, you know, but I maintain usually at an extra medium. So I'm like some larges are too big and then some mediums are too tight and it sucks. You just got to get the right one, the right large or the right medium.
Yeah,
that
they got to fit the certain way. I'm what's called a medium. So like some smalls can fit me, but I can't dry them in the dryer. I got to wash them and then let them hang. Otherwise it's over. Like they get too short. And then some mediums are just fucking huge.
Yeah.
And you have to at least wash them once or twice to get them down to, you know, something that I'm not swimming in.
Right. I'm laughing because you guys helped me out with when I first started the management company, I was under a different name. And then I decided to change it just to make it a little bit more professional, shorten it up and kind of get a little bit more and be less. Because at that time, I think I was getting a lot of bands in the kind of reggae, punk, ska scene just because that's kind of the vibe it gave off. So I really wanted to expand and make sure I was able to be something more familiar. But I remember it helped out and I was like, what size are you? And you're like, small. And in my head, I'm thinking, he's a pretty buff guy. Like he works out. Like, I don't know if he's going to fit in this small, like, and it fit perfectly. And I was like, damn, yeah, I guess I shouldn't have questioned him. Should have known better.
I wouldn't dry it. Yeah. You just gotta, you know your sizes, you know, go around. I have so many like touring shirts though from where I just like, I think I was at my biggest when we first started touring. When I was like 21, I was probably like, I think I got up to like almost 200 pounds. I was still wearing small shirts. I had no business wearing any small shirts. I just wanted to feel skinny.
I hate these days because it's like, I just really don't have the time. It's not, that's an excuse. I have the time to work out, especially now.
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah. But a big reason, and another reason I have my medical card is because I have a herniated disc so it kind of, I'm not going camera. So it kind of sticks out a little bit like that. And it always hits my nerve, and it got to the point where I was getting cortisone shots in my spine. Because my left leg, at one point, it literally went, I was sitting there, I'm like, I can't feel my leg, dude. And all of a sudden, it was like a shooting pain, and just went, because it's your nerve, so I guess it goes all the way down your leg. And I could feel my other leg, and I could feel the rest of my body, no problem. But it's just that
sciatic nerve?
Yes, that's exactly what it's called. Man, are you a doctor, or do you just play one on Zoom?
Definitely a doctor.
I just play one on Zoom. Yeah, but so I finally got that, and that's why I've been getting the medical, because the older I get, I don't drink as much. I don't smoke as much. I actually get it because of the CBD. They have the high concentration of CBD that you can't just get from the drops. And I'm used to smoking, so I like just to have the vape pen. But, man, it does wonders. And I finally got my mom on it, too, which is amazing because I know for a long time my parents were my dad's not against weed. He's fine with weed. Like, he doesn't smoke it or do it, and he refuses to take anything like that, even though he could probably benefit it from the most.
Of course, yeah.
But he's not against or anything, but he just won't take it. And my mom, because they're always like, oh, weed, it gets you high. I'm like, yeah, but I'm talking about CBD, that doesn't have any of that stuff.
And they don't understand the difference anyway. Like they don't understand those.
It's their time now.
Intricacies,
Because when they were young, they were getting that whole scary movie. It's like LSD. They're showing like people on LSD, like this is what happens when you smoke weed.
The reefer madness, yeah.
But even now that, we were talking about that show, and even now they're using psychedelics and stuff for medical, reasons, because it does open up other parts of the brain that I guess maybe just our society and the way we're brought up doesn't have all those, doesn't kind of expand it to that point.
Well, that's what I love about it. Like, I'm a huge proponent for especially like psilocybin, like magic mushrooms. I'm a huge proponent for that. And thankfully, they've opened up these doors to start studying this stuff now.
Yeah.
The John Hopkins
Yes.
Research Center just came out with the psilocybin research that,
Mm-hmm.
I think just reinforce what most people who actually take mushrooms know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Right.
and it's you talk about having the experiences, the anxiety and stuff like that comes with it.
Yeah.
And I think that these substances, when administered, by a professional in a good
Mm-hmm.
setting,
Right.
in a place where someone can feel safe and stuff, there's no getting around all, the everything it can do, the healing that it actually does, the healing that it does inside and out. These materials are amazing, incredible
Mm-hmm.
medicines that we have, not utilized since the 60s because of, a lame ass war on drugs that was
I
meant to just
know.
lock up hippies and people who didn't want to go to the Vietnam War. So it's just,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy that there's a little bit of this turnaround now, because I can't think of anything that we need more than a completely new outlook on how we're living our lives and
Yes.
treating each other. And in order for something like that to happen, in order for there to be a dynamic shift change in our consciousness, I think that's what these substances are inevitably going to be help us do, is help us evolve to a state where we are growing out of the idea that USA, 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 that we are growing out of the idea that poor people are stealing your jobs. We can grow out of the idea that we are all not on the same fucking planet, that we can
Mm-hmm.
trash this planet all we want and there won't be repercussions for it. Like,
Yeah.
we need a serious wake up call. And I think that things like psilocybin, LSD, even MDMA can really, really help to snap people out of it. And that's what I would say it does. When you have those
Mm-hmm.
experiences, you're in communication with something that feels much higher, that we're talking about, that you're seeing steps ahead. You're
Right.
thinking ahead. You're seeing
Right.
the big picture for once and realizing that, oh, I'm just a little cancer cell in this bigger organism that needs to wake up and align itself with the greater good. And in that way, I think we'll all benefit each other if we start treating each other the same. Easier said than done. A lot of things need to be in place and
Well,
policies.
that's what's scary, is
But
that to me it's not that hard. To me, it doesn't seem like, well, the psychedelics part, but I mean, I'm talking about
sure,
the overall sense of, like you were saying, what is it going to take? Or I think that's what it's going to take for people to see it. I'm thinking in my head, it should have taken the pandemic for us all to get together, and no one is. If anything, it's dividing us more. And then we're talking about like the higher conscience and seeing the bigger picture. And I was just watching Bright Insight. I don't know if you've watched that guy. Now, some of his stuff isn't
no,
actually accurate. He's like an ex-Marine. He's been like, I don't know how accurate all his stuff is. I think for the most part it is. But he's traveled the world. He's done all this stuff. And the last episode he just had was how the ancient civilizations, it was actually all one civilization where all humans were like one. Yeah, they lived in different countries, but he showed a lot of the different pyramids and stuff, the exact same stuff in like Italy, Japan, Brazil, wherever, the States. But that, to me, that higher conscience, that all kind of goes back into alien stuff. And it's funny because I'm thinking, well, if we can't find toilet paper during a pandemic, do you think the whole reason they didn't tell us about aliens is because the same exact shit would happen? Like,
well, that's the thing though too. Like, I feel like as a society, they've slowly like tapered into our consciousness the idea of aliens and extraterrestrials and stuff, while at the same time putting a lot of disinformation to kind of quell that doubt.
right.
And then just recently, the Navy finally releasing all their footage, just verifying
Tom
what other
DeLonge was
nations have already
right.
verified. Just did. It's
Dude.
just wild. I think that what we're gonna find too, you're talking about these ancient civilization stuff. I think that there are probably a lot of ancient civilizations here. I think that we
Mm-hmm.
like to think that maybe this is like the most technologically advanced that human race has, or maybe the most technologically advanced race that this planet has ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there's probably been a couple of cataclysms, and we've probably been wiped out
Oh
a
yeah, a
couple
few
times.
times. Yeah. I mean, that's why I love watching all those like certain history shows, not like the History Channel, but like watching history things. Like even the Curse of Oak Island. Have you watched that?
Yeah. Yep.
I know they're never gonna find treasure, and every episode they always fool me with the little the British guy with the piercings, with the metal detector guy. He's always like shouting something. I'm like, oh, they're gonna get it today, and then I get, and then I watch it, and then they're like, next time on Oak Island, oh, maybe we'll find something this time. This is just one step closer, and I'm like getting pissed off, and I still watch it anyway. But stuff like that shows how off we were, and that pisses me off that I got a C in history when I was in middle school because I hated history, and I feel like everything I was taught was completely wrong too. But the whole ancient thing, like maybe they didn't have societies like we do today with like lights and stuff, but they had way advanced technology that allowed them to communicate between each other, worldwide. Sure. And like you said, even Atlantis and all this other stuff, it's not that far-fetched that maybe that was like another thing. I don't know. I watched 3 different things, and there were different similarities, and then it all led back to like kind of how, again, we are probably the farthest thing from, the most advanced society that's ever been on Earth. That's probably why aliens don't fuck with us either, because they're like we're like ants to them.
Exactly.
Because for all we know, so this is kind of on the verge of tin foil hatness, but I also feel like
I'm down.
Yeah,
let's go there.
I feel like the same thing with the moon happened with Roswell, where we actually landed on the moon. That's not fake. We were there, but they saw shit that they were like, oh, we can't show people, and the footage that they had from the actual moon probably showed some stuff they didn't want. So what they might have recreated it, or they might have had other, stills along of real stuff along, and then they mixed up some fake stuff. That's what I think. I think that's what happened with the moon.
Oh, it's fun to think about. I love that. I was an avid tinfoil hatter for the longest time, especially when it comes to like aliens and extraterrestrials. Mm-hmm. I would love if aliens came down and landed right now and we had communication with them.
Yeah.
But I think in the long run too, like you said, when we look at a line of ants, going about their day, going back and forth, bringing food.
Yeah.
We acknowledge them. We think they're cool. Maybe we wipe them out if they're in our house or whatever. But those ants have no idea that they're there. Even if we put our finger down, they will walk around or whatever. They're just so oblivious to this outside force, because that's just not a part of their brain chemistry, not a part of their life.
Right.
I think that any probably aliens that would be like in the physical appearances able to actually come down and land and stuff like that would probably not be aliens that we want to deal with, because I think that most societies, if they truly evolved and stuff, they'd probably be on a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of a higher dimension, even to as where we can't necessarily see them because we don't understand that with our brains. But if there was something that was kind of like us that was able to come in contact with us, they'd probably be a lot similar to us, and that might not be a good thing at all.
Yeah, especially the way we are now. I've seen those rumors or the things where there's actually already aliens on Earth, and they actually look like us. Because who's to say that within these millions of galaxies, in order to have life, you need a lot of the same elements. So who's not to say that some planets do have people that literally look just like us, but we don't even know it?
I am positive that I've met an alien a time or two in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking with the shit I've seen in New York City and stuff, is like, that's an alien. That dude was an alien for sure. That lady's a fucking alien. We always do that stuff. Just like, look at that.
Yeah, I definitely think
that lady is an alien.
Yeah.
Just that Men in Black shit.
And it's got to be New York, too, because there's so many, especially on the subway.
Oh, dude, back in the day before like Ubers, like all like the cab drivers and stuff too.
Yeah.
I'll never forget like some of the people we came across. It's like that was a weird encounter, and I'll never forget it. And I don't think they were human.
I feel like if you haven't gone to New York City and seen a homeless guy masturbating on the subway, then you haven't been there. You really haven't experienced New York, because I've seen it more than I've wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get off and you go to the next cart, but you're like almost to Jamaica Boulevard anyway, so you're like, fuck, I'll just stay on.
Well, it's even better now because everyone's just on their phones anyway. So there's like a dude just taking his shit in the middle of a car right in front of you. You're just like, I'm just going to keep scrolling because my stop is in 2 stops and I'm not walking.
I would hate to be, I just feel for everyone in city environments too, because that's the only way to get around in New York City. So it's like even though like I'm in the county, so if I wanted to work, you know, I could probably go get a 9 to 5 or find something. But so far,
Sure.
everything I've found also, I'm getting more on unemployment, which to me is backwards because like
Mm.
I want to work and there's no reason I should be making more right now than I am because it would be
Yeah,
part
and
time and I get like $12 an hour for anything available. So I'd be making like 400 a week, maybe, you know, it's like
while still putting yourself at
at
risk.
risk. Right. So it's like, why do I not just stay home, I guess,
That was the
you know?
best part about this whole stimulus check thing, or the unemployment thing, was all these lawmakers like totally put their fucking foots in their mouth because they did the math and found out like the amount that you the least amount of money they could give you with you surviving. And
Right.
they realized that it was over what people are making now,
Yeah.
and not realizing that there's the fucking problem, dude.
Yeah.
Like
That our
the
society
wages are
has people that
ridiculous.
are making so little that unemployment is more than that. Yeah, it's ass backwards. But yeah, again, I wish, you know what sucks? I could never run for president because I wasn't born in the country. So even though
Ew.
I know, the
Ew.
fuck, man, I feel like I'm the perfect mix of America, but also like world, you know?
Hey, you got that little Yang Gang thing going,
I
you know?
know.
That's I back the Yang as well. And I think going about this too, really thinking about in general what people want in order for them to be happy,
Mm-hmm.
honestly isn't a whole lot.
No.
They just want to be able to take care of their family, have a place to live, be able to have affordable health care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can cover
Yeah.
all these education, if you can cover all these things, people will find really quick that you don't need a lot else. You know,
No.
we like to think that we're this capitalist society that like wants and wants and wants, but
No.
like we have all this materialism push on us. And the reality is, and I think a lot of people wake up and already know this to some certain extent, those things don't fill the hole.
No.
Like these material stuff, no matter what you get, it's just you're gonna wear yourself out. It's gonna bore you because they're just things that have a temporary fix on you. The real things that are important: family, friends, being happy, healthy.
Mhm.
You know, and I
Yeah.
think, like you said, a lot of people want to work. Like nobody wants to be fucking stuck at home.
No.
Nobody's happy doing it. You know, everyone likes to be out, making, make it feel like they earn money. It
Yeah.
feels good to come home from work and
Yeah.
be tired sometimes. You
Yeah,
know,
hell yeah.
it fills a hole. And I think that that's something that's not addressed. Is like, it really, us as people, I don't think we need that much to be happy. If you
No.
can give people work, education, a roof over your head, and health, I don't think there's a whole lot more to ask for. And that's like one thing our country's really, really good at, saying that nobody deserves in
Yeah.
the land of the free.
I wish I had something that was like, hey, you know what? If you really love this and you want to do it, you can do this, but this is what you got to do. You got to start saving. You got to be smart. Now I know things were
Sure.
a lot different. So, instead of selling physical copies of CD, you're getting cents on,
remember.
you're getting cents on the cents on the cents on the dollar for your Spotify stream. Did you see that Joe Rogan just sold his podcast?
Yep, saw that. I bet it was for a shit ton of money.
100 mil.
I bet 100
mil.
million. Was that
Yeah,
what it was?
yeah.
Oh,
It's a nice price. It's a nice price. It's funny. So
good.
another thing, I saw all those. That's what I started to say before, is that I reached out to all these podcast people, and they all wanted me on. They all did, and then they all canceled like 30 minutes before we were supposed to record. And I'm like,
Oh,
I forgot.
beautiful.
I forgot that these groups are like, the
as
like the
fuck.
amateur. Like, hey, I just started my podcast last week. So after that, I was like, okay, no more posting in groups. I'm just gonna get my own guests on and talk to them. But
Oh, dude, yeah.
yeah,
I totally get that. We would have that all the time too with we would have publicists for the band.
okay,
These
yeah,
publicists would we'd be on tour and they would book these interviews with these kids, give them free tickets to the shows, like put them on our guest list, taking up our spots. Then we come on and it's like Brenda's raw Tumblr or whatever. She's like just there going like, how did you get the name of your band? I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's like nobody was vetting our interviews at all. It was just literally kids who just wanted free tickets to shows, and they would just come up with like the worst questions and like had no idea what they were doing.
yeah.
And stuff. It was like, oh, it was the worst. At the
Yeah.
point, I was like, no more interviews. No, I'm not a dick. I can't do this anymore.
Well, that's what I'm scared of the most. Like, I'm lucky I'll get my friends or people I know, so they'll at least come on here. But that's what I'm trying to work out of and away from is doing
Yeah.
that. But I really do have to get a production team in here. But I thought it was funny because I saw the people like, one of the posts was something like, did you guys see, so what do you guys think about Joe Rogan? how much hope is that for the rest of us? Like they were suddenly gonna sell their podcast for like $100 million.
No hope at all.
I'm like, you do realize Joe Rogan's had a podcast for like 10 years now. You know, he started it before
12.
If not more. He's had it before people even listened to He was putting this stuff out for 5 years when no one listened to it, you know?
Yes.
And then
he had Fleshlight as a sponsor.
Yes. Right? I would love to have Fleshlight as a sponsor just because I'm sure it would help out. Actually, I kept talking about Bones Coffee Company so much, they actually sent me free shit. Have you ever had Bones Coffee?
No, I've had Death Wish. Bones sounds similar. Is it same like a copious amount of caffeine or what?
It is actually. Hold on.
It sounds like it.
So this one's the high voltage. Oh, I'm so bad at this camera shit. High voltage, so it's like extremely caffeinated. Then they have, oh man, I don't want to run away. I should have had it here before and I knew it. It's called Mint Invaders from Chocolate Space. And,
all right.
And I'm usually not a flavor person. I just like dark, maybe 2 creams and a little bit of sugar sometimes, but usually it's just dark and very caffeinated.
Yeah.
But they had Mint Invaders from Chocolate, and it smells and tastes, and that's what I'm drinking right now. I had the last of it, just like a Girl Scout Thin Mint.
Yeah.
Or mint chocolate chip
just
ice cream.
My mint coffee. Actually.
Yes.
I found it on sale. It was like Dunkin' Donuts or whatever. It was like $3, but it was like that white, white mint or whatever. And I was like,
oh, okay.
I'll try it out.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. It was great.
It was great.
Made me feel like Christmas in March, you know?
It tastes basic,
Magical.
but nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
But then I also got the maple bacon. It was really good, dude. They sent me like a sample pack of that.
All right.
Just because I told them, I'm like, I really want to try these, but I just got dark, and that's all I ordered. So they sent me like these little sample packs, and I'm addicted. I'm very addicted to it. So shout out to Bones Coffee Company, because I am not sponsored and they're not paying for any of this. So, but they did give me great coffee, and I'm hooked now, so I can't stop. It's kind of expensive, but it's worth it. I'd say it's worth it, because
it lasts a while too, depending on like how much you're using. Do you get the whole bean and grind it up, or do you just
these
pre-grinded?
So these I got the pre-grinded. Usually I get the whole bean because I have a grinder and I like to do it fresh and then just put it straight into the little K cup and then get it going right here. During the quarantine that you've gotten into that you normally weren't, like I know you're busy, I know you're doing music and stuff, but like I started
landscaping. I've been doing landscaping in my backyard.
I was just about to say I've been doing a lot of gardening and a lot of landscaping. I got my buddy Matt, who's in another band, One Life to Lead. He's going to come over and help me do my floors in the office. So I'm going to rip out the carpet that's gross and has all this stuff spilled on it and whatnot, and then put in some hardwoods.
It's been a great time for that. Just like,
you
always bitch about not having time. Now, motherfucker, you have all the time in the world.
No excuses.
And I couldn't be the one, and I should have been writing like more. I've been writing a couple songs to be ready to record, when I can go do that. But I was like, if I come out of this quarantine and haven't gotten anything done, I'm going to hate myself forever.
At the same time, motivation. It's funny, at the same time, you can look at it the other way. My friend Jordan, he's trying to get me to think more positive. He was like, you have the right to not do anything too. And if you don't, and you come out of it, but you want to, then go ahead and just do it. But there's certain things that I was thinking that to finish actually, because no one can come in here, I didn't finish off the walls and I didn't finish off the rest of it on this other side that you can't see. So I was going to have the soundboard going across, and I used to have our logo on the wall. But now that we've gone digital and I have the logo in the screen, I'm like, it's too many logos, Yeah. It would be hit the light in the background and then hit the lights on the bottom and all that stuff. So I have to get rid of that. So now I'm putting up more posters and putting other stuff there. But now that people can't come in the studio, it's like I've had to redo everything. And I had about 3 months booked out where it was one big decent band or comedian or someone coming in every week up until the end of July. And now everything's Zoom. And it's just difficult because it's, you've had to rework it. I had to go buy this GoPro. I actually just bought a new Sony camera too that I'm going to try out, a nice one.
Nice.
I'm not a professional photographer, but I'm like, I might as well spend the $2,000 and get a decent camera that's not a professional one, but I can go to shows or actually have good.
Right.
Now this is only I'm only shooting in 1080/60, so it's decent. It's decent right now, But
so that's a GoPro you're using right now?
Yeah, and I figured, this is good because I showed you my podcast machine, I think. Did I? Did I show
Do
you
you
the
do you do
setup?
your GoPro wirelessly, or do you have it just plugged right in?
So I had to buy the capture card or the capture link. So you plug
Capture link.
the
Okay,
mini
so you have to buy like
HDMI.
another thing for it. Okay.
Dude.
Oh, I'm looking into it now from this streaming stuff, and I've been talking to my friend
Yeah.
Rick. Because
Yeah.
same thing. I just like looking back at stuff now. I was like, first of all, like, and I'm not like just saying this to be like looking for compliments. I am moderately talented, so if I could like have at least a stream where it's quality, was a decent quality,
Right.
that takes me from like a 6. If I can get to that 8,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm good. So like
Hmm.
it matters. I think you have a good thing going. It looks great. But yeah, I'll probably be picking your brain for
I'll help you
maybe
out
some
with
stuff to do
anything.
as well. Yeah,
Actually, I
I
need to
need
come down and visit you.
so
Is
much.
John down there with you guys?
He is down in Charleston. I
Oh, okay.
haven't
So he's a
talked to
little
him
bit
late
south.
though.
Okay.
Yeah, I just talked to him when he was actually on his way down. He was getting the fuck out of New York.
I know. He stopped on the way and we did. What sucks is that I was partitioning my hard drive. I just got a brand new 12 gig so I could split it up, and I was partitioning it to give my podcast area more room.
Sure.
And I thought I was just adding space, so it's not going to delete it or redo it. I was just adding, so it deleted everything. I lost
No.
every single thing I've ever recorded from this podcast, season 1, and I had about 5 episodes with video recorded for season 2. All of it's gone. And the only way to get it back, I think, is either to go to like a third down, like pay and do a third party download, which I don't know where it's coming from, those things. And they're
Right.
seeing all my stuff on there, even though it's not a big deal. It's nothing crazy. It's just the podcast. But
Gives you an icky feeling. Sure.
yeah, it just sucks. And I know people have had that. Like, there's a good space of time from when I was like in high school till like right at the end of college where I have 0 photos or videos of me because either my old laptop died and I lost everything, or I had phones that had stuff on it and I lost those. So, and that back then we didn't have the cloud or anything to like,
Right.
upload it. Gonna give you my best advice. I've loved
Yes.
GoPros. I've had one in the past and they're great for travel. They're great for like stuff like you doing shows and stuff like that. As far as like high quality and photos, definitely get like, the mirrorless or something like that now.
Right.
But I have a love-hate relationship because you buy one, you're thinking, well, I only spent $299 on it, but then after shipping and tax, it was actually $350. I also had to trade in one of my old cameras to get it at that price. So I was basically losing a nice camera to gain a camera. And you can see it's nice. This is only 1080. It goes up to 4K 60. But then I don't know how good it is streaming. It might lag a little bit more.
Right. And depending on like how people are watching you anyway, that might not even fucking matter.
No,
They're deciding how they're going to be watching you, and their internet connection is going to be deciding how they watch
right.
you.
I think the next thing would be, I know the hardest part, and especially with everything going on in COVID, how bands are going to be able to practice if there's a technology that would come out where it's instantaneous. Because there's always going to be a delay no matter what. There's got to be a way that we can find out the technology that you can actually play live and practice without it interfering. Because you might be able to see each other.
It'll definitely happen.
I hope so, because I think that would be the technology
That's the only way
of the future.
it can go, Like, it's not, there's all these things that we view as impossible, and it just because we haven't figured out that aha moment. I say we, like I'm adding to this discovery. I won't be doing
we are,
shit
aren't
for this
you? I was
discovery.
like, you came up with 5G, right?
It was me.
Yeah, that was me.
That was to kill everyone, though.
Oh, dude.
Totally different thing, not band practice.
Have you seen the reports on that?
Genocide.
Have you seen like the reports in the labs on it? How it like definitely fucks with your brain.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It definitely puts. But what we know, it puts holes in our brain, but yet they're still rolling it out like it's not a big deal, and people know it does that. Like, I might not ever get a 5G phone.
Well,
like, can I just stay on 4G?
That we have to with even like down to the FDA, like all these corporations, they all regulate themselves.
Yeah.
So like any science they have, whatever, like even if they got reports and they get test results back that aren't favorable for them, they just lock them away. They just bury them.
I know.
Did you ever watch that? It just came out recently. It had to do with DuPont. It's called Dark Water.
It sounds familiar. Is that on Netflix as well?
I don't know if it's on Netflix. Came out late last year. But it kind of had to do with DuPont. This is like a place in Ohio, but
so I'm gonna say no, but yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic, but it's scary as fuck because it just goes to show you how these corporations, like their science and industry and stuff, they come up with these new products on their own, right? So like people like the FDA and stuff like that, they can't regulate chemicals and stuff that are brand new. Like they don't even know they exist, so they
Right.
aren't regulated. So people like DuPont, in order to make it was for Teflon, this chain thing. I obviously big words I don't understand, but this chemical that they make for Teflon
Right.
ends up
Now
doesn't
it's
break it
ringing a
down. It
bell the
just
more you're explaining it.
yeah,
Like I couldn't give
it's
you
fucking
details because it's been a
terrifying.
while, but yeah, no, that's scary.
Yeah,
But there's all those
and
documents
it's all
now.
in us now. It's in everybody now. It's in the drinking water, and it will never ever go away. It's
No.
in you till the end of time. They knew they were doing this
Yep.
since the '60s. Continue to make it all the way into the 2000s when they eventually lost a court case. But again, it's too late. It doesn't matter. And like all these people, it was just lucky enough that there was a lawyer that went after him that just did everything pro bono
Mm-hmm.
because nobody could, the
Yeah.
farm that he was representing had lost his entire farm to it, and he
Right.
never would have gotten any justice at all. And it took them 10 years of litigation just to get them to start paying out, which they can do. It's a slap on the wrist, but now everyone here has this chemical in your body. It's horrifying. And it's just
Dude.
because these companies regulate themselves. So don't think for a second that there's not something going on right now that companies already know about
Mm-hmm.
that isn't regulated because they don't even know it exists, and it's poisoning us. It will always be that way until we change the way that we deal with businesses.
Yeah, and
And
it
it's just not going
sucks
to happen for a long
because
time.
it's not going to change. Not as long as
Why would it? As
we-
long as profit is involved and
Mhm.
they put profit over people,
Mhm.
and I love when we all talk about like billionaires and trillionaires now. What with Jeff Bezos, and like they have so much money, they could do so much good and stuff. I think we need
So
to look
much
at that
good.
and realize that we probably do the same thing in their shoes. Maybe that's just what we as humans, that's how our brains react to having that kind of money and power. And maybe we need to put things in place to circumvent the fact that these certain things like profit and stuff are going to bring out the worst in humanity.
Right.
We've seen the worst, we've seen the best, and we need to start catering and set ourselves up not for failure, but for the ability to do good with anything. I feel like especially when it comes to business, capitalism, all that, it's a heartless business. It's just business. That's a saying for a reason, because when all that matters is profit, people take a back seat. And that's not going to change until we decide that profit isn't everything. But that's the whole reason businesses exist, because profit is everything. So until we decide to break ourselves and wake ourselves up from that, we're just dooming ourselves to relive this mistake over and over and over again.
Yeah, and I remember the whole reason I wanted to get into business and I went and got my business degree was because I wanted to be the opposite of what I always perceived business to be, which was a bottom line kind of a thing. I wish I had all the money in the world, because I'd like to think, and it's funny you said, maybe if we were in the same position, we would do the same thing. I've always liked to think in my head, no, I wouldn't. I would have.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't. We really don't. I wouldn't know unless I had billions in my account where I didn't have to worry about anything. At the same time, like, I'd like to think that, yeah, I have. I mean, I don't know. If I was a billion, that's so much money. I can't imagine not giving back most of it and still having so much available that I wouldn't have to worry about a thing. You know what I mean?
We put that separation on these people, like I would never do that.
Right.
Why are they doing this?
And
But
we
the
really
reality
don't
is,
know.
Maybe that's how our brains work when in those positions. Maybe that's just what we typically tend to do in those situations, and we need to find a way to recognize, what are the patterns. Why is there hoarding? Why is there 1% hoarding the wealth? Like, what does it do? What good is that? Maybe that's just how our brains start to react to that kind of stuff. And that's something we need to look at and say, okay, after we get to a certain point, we found out that our brains just decide to turn off empathy and just, want to play the power game, all that. Maybe it's just something I think about a lot, is maybe that we're not different than whatsoever. And what we need to look at is why we act that way. Look at them as a reflection of ourselves and say, why are we doing that? What makes us think that way? And how can we improve that?
It's got to be like an
better
ego
people.
thing, right? Like an ego thing or like a perception thing.
Power trips for sure. Like when you have all the power in the world, when you were the richest man in the world, literally you can do whatever you want. So what do you do for fun when you're a billionaire and you've done it all?
Yeah.
I guess you just don't even want to retire. Like that dude could retire and be done and not have to do another thing in his life. Why don't they retire?
Yeah.
I assume because it's a game now. It's like it's all you have. It's you got to keep doing that. Got to keep crushing.
I guess that's why like billionaires buy like sports teams and stuff like that, because now it's not even about the money. The money, you're so rich that it's just like, now it's like, I'm better than you. Like I can beat you. I can build a better team. I know business more than you. So then I think at that level, it's like, it's all ego, you know? Yeah. The reason I brought that up is because I did have this girl say, well, if you had all the money, you'd be buying this and this, and you'd have all this. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I'd have nicer things, but that doesn't mean my personality would change. And like you said, we don't know because I've never had it. So maybe I could become a huge asshole. Who knows? I'd like to think not, but I don't know. I always just thought like, I just see so much. I believe a lot of the same things that you believe and that you've talked about. And it just, to me, it's a lot simpler. I know it's easier said than done, but at the same time, my mindset makes it simple. Like to me, it's not that hard to just be a nice person. You don't have to agree with everyone. You don't have to believe the same things. But what happened to just being, a decent human being in public, even, why can't we just.
Yeah. And a lot of these things too, like all these problems with society when it comes to Medicare for all, when it comes to like, putting money back into public schools and stuff, especially like schools and lower income districts and stuff like that. And it's always like, we don't have enough money for that. We don't have enough money for that.
No.
And the reality is, and I think we found this out through this pandemic too, I think it's incredibly clear. They have as much money as they fucking need for whatever else they want to do when it comes to throwing money in the stock market or whatever. They have, it's just fake. It's just all funny money. But when it comes to actually, things that are supposed to help people and stuff, we can't find the money for that. And that's very telling to a sign of a sickness that I think maybe happens to humans when they get put in these positions of power and stuff, and corruption. And I think that more or less, a lot of us are the same kind of people, or the same animals, just put into different scenarios. And we have to look at this as a thing saying, like, not just like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. It's like, the fact is, maybe I would do that if I were you, because we're not that different at all,
Yeah.
I mean, recognizing that problem.
I mean, just imagine if everyone in the world worked together. Like, it wasn't like a country thing. It was we're literally one Earth and one human race, which we are. We would have been in space and like way past Jupiter right now, I feel like,
Oh yeah.
There's no way in hell that we wouldn't have been.
No, it's all just division too. It's especially nowadays. That's what it is. Divide and just make sure that we're
divide and conquer
for stupid reasons.
Well, that's how they control everyone.
Saying, hey, exactly.
And I'm not conspiracy theory, but it's true. That's what's going on. That's exactly what's going on in our society.
This is nothing new.
No.
Like even when they owned plantations and stuff down here, they would do the same thing. They would split the slaves on the mill, because they would have Irish slaves, they'd have black slaves. What they do to keep them from all uprising stuff, they would start giving the Irish slaves, the white slaves, more duties, or putting them in charge of black slaves and stuff, and like splitting them down. So like these two slaves are just working against each other, and like are like building their own their own little what's the word, tribes and tribal communities, and like saying this person's bad for this. And so the white Irish slave is getting all the blame, rather than putting the blame on the actual system itself. And like the whole reason why they're splitting people up is to keep them divided and arguing, rather than uniting and saying, okay, enough is enough. It's time to knock this shit off and, do better. It's time to do better.
I feel like if everyone had a pit bull, they would be a little bit kinder. Yeah. I actually had to put up a sign on our fence one time that like said, hey, like had a picture. It said, it like described both dogs and said how like one was adopted and one was rescued and stuff. Just because when people go by, he'll run up to the fence and it scares the shit out of people. But he's really just saying hi, and he just wants to play with the dog. And you can see his tail wagging, but he sounds like he wants to murder you. Yeah. But no, I love Chai. I wish we could get them together. The one time I came down though, she's not too fond of other dogs though.
It depends on the dogs and stuff. Like she's had best friends. She's had little Jack Russell Terriers that she like loved to death. You know, my sister's dog, she loved to. It just depends on the dog, what energy they're putting out. Shy's the dog. Like we take her to the dog park, take her off the leash, and like she'll spend the entire time just going around the perimeter of the fences, just sniffing, just like not want anything to do with anyone else. Dogs come up to her and she's like, no. She's like a total cat dog.
Oh, that's funny.
She's an asshole, which is probably a reflection of myself. I'm sure.
It's funny that you called it a cat dog, because that's why I don't like cats, because they do whatever the fuck they want to do. They don't care. And we had two of them, and I've only had one. Her name was, the one I liked was Precious, because we called her Precious because she was a sweet cat. The other one, Abby, was like the devil cat. She would pee on my laundry. She would poop everywhere. She was dirty. She would get like poop stuck in her fur, and then we'd have to shave her. Like, yeah, cats.
There's always gonna be shitty cats. I love cats too.
No, I do.
I've had many awesome cats.
I do.
They're great, but they definitely don't give a fuck. They're definitely a different breed. They are not dogs. I think everyone knows that.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on. And again, Thief Club is out. I know you guys have some music, you've been around, but that's what I really wanted to have you on here to promote, because I feel like I'm actually really excited to see what you do with that more too. So
yeah, like I said, I've got some songs that'll be recorded probably this summer and stuff too. I just want to keep that constant content, you know, just keep releasing songs, and eventually we'll play some shows again, and that'll be neat too.
I can't wait, and I really appreciate it, because I actually, right before we go, do you remember the first day we met after the 311? Do you remember any of that night? Because we were all pretty fucked up.
It was at the house party.
Yes, I just remember
we just went back to the apartment,
like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., the Waffle House. That's what I remember. There? Yeah, you were there. I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember that at all.
That's what I'm saying. That's how far gone we were. And at one point, I don't know why, I guess the Waffle House came. I went because I was making a call or doing something. I don't know what I was doing at 4 a.m. But I went and I sat in my car. I'm sitting there eating with my hands because I didn't have any utensils because I left it inside. So I'm like eating the Waffle House with my hands. I look over and it's either Lee or someone else in their car on the phone. I can see the screen because it's lit up, and they're eating Waffle House with their fries. I don't know if they were like smoking, or it might have been someone else. I can't remember. But yeah, that was good times. That was when you guys were staying with Jeremy from Treehouse. You guys all lived together, right?
Yeah. Jeremy still lives here now in the new place as well.
Oh, your place?
Yep.
Oh, cool. All right.
They left. They went camping tonight. But
tell them
they're gonna be here till September, I think, and then they're gonna be moving out. We'll see. But obviously, the coronavirus kind of things
put that on hold.
But
yeah, tell him I said hi, and I'll have to get him on the podcast at some point. But yeah, you've always been so kind to me, man. And then you hooked me up when we went to see Simple Plan and you guys, and that was the first time I got to see you live. And yeah, man, dude, I know you talk humbly, and I know it's weird coming, as an artist or a creative, but I thought you were amazing. You have a great voice, and I'm definitely stoked to see what you have coming up next. So thanks for coming on, man.
Josh.
Thanks for taking a beautiful Saturday, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Please stop by in studio next time you're up this way, and tell Lee I said hi.
Awesome, we'll do, man. Yeah, I'm gonna do a shot and take my dog for a walk.
Hell yeah! Actually, I might drink a beer too and go. That's a perfect idea. So have fun, man, and we'll talk soon.
I gotta eat a gummy bear too. I'll eat a gummy bear for you.
Yes, please. Yes,
Saturday,
come back on.
baby.
Cool.